because the last time, I'll tell you when we're live. The last time I went out to hang out with my buddies, I got a DUI, and that was it. I was just like, I'm fucking done.
Oh
People
yeah, that's
been,
like that's it.
yeah,
Hey
yeah,
man,
they're,
real quick, to add to a talk that we had um about the Tesla, driving by yourself. Remember that talk? Yeah, I
yeah.
saw a video with a guy. Dude, I don't know if I sent it to you or not, but it was interesting because what I'm trying to do is send you videos because you could upload it from there, when we get that going. Um, but this guy was in a Tesla and they were recording him. He was on the highway. Dude, he had the sunshades up on his window. So he was sleeping, but the sun bothered him. You know when you park your car and you put that thing on your windshield?
The
You know,
visor.
yeah, to keep the car cool so the
Oh,
sun's not.
yeah, 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 yeah.
He was
Yes.
on the highway with that shit on, man.
You can't do that.
Well, he did.
Well, I mean, you can, but you have to put your hand on the wheel. You can't just like go to sleep at
Li-
every
li-
like couple of
Listen,
minutes or something.
those are the brainwash, man. This guy thinks he could, I'm tired today, man. Let me just fucking, put autopilot on this
Yeah,
and
we're
take me
not there
home,
yet. We're
you
not
know?
there yet.
Because if I'm not
Absolutely not.
mistaken, that driving ability is only for, um, highway use, pretty much. And they do have another uh, car that, if it's parked in the parking lot, you could hit a button on your remote and then that bitch will come down and come pick you up with nobody in it.
Yeah, they have some vehicles like
Yeah.
that, but the self-driving vehicles, it doesn't have to be necessarily a highway or a freeway. It just has to be enough road, anticipating enough road for the
Yeah.
vehicle to do what it needs to do. I wouldn't suggest putting that on self-drive in any cities. No. Not even in neighborhoods, because you can see like basketballs and dogs. Like when you're on the screen, you can see not basketballs, I'm sorry, I meant to say like traffic cones. And maybe you could see a basketball if it like goes in the street. Who knows? I'm sure Tesla has that capability of detecting that, but you can
Yeah.
see people walking dogs and stuff. It's pretty cool. But we're not there yet where you could just put that visor on your thing. That's crazy, dude. But I also saw like a video of people like having whoopee time. They got caught, doing things in the Tesla, which is again crazy to me. Like that's just wildly irresponsible. And you know who it is? It's freaking teenagers. So
Let's test out the theory.
yeah, it's stupid. I mean, I think we've all been there in the
I'll be done
back.
in a minute.
Yeah.
All we need is a minute.
So full disclaimer, if I laugh, it's gonna hurt. So you see, like right there, that right there just hurt. It's crazy. And anyone who's, had chest congestion understands. All right, look, there's a lot going on in the world, a lot to talk about. We missed a couple of days because I've been sick. How have you been feeling?
I'm okay, man. I'm just run down and tired, man. I work at a mall, you know that, and it's the Christmas season, and you know,
Tell
uh,
us about that.
the Christmas season.
Yeah, I'll tell you about mine with DoorDash because DoorDash is pretty interesting in the Christmas season.
Listen,
The time, yeah.
if anybody wants to get a rough idea what's going on now with these days with Christmas, I would recommend you watch the movie Red One, with Dwayne Johnson, Chris Evans.
Red?
Yeah, Red. I don't know why I keep saying Red One. Red One was an old movie, as a matter of fact.
So
Um,
Red, I keep seeing, is that Ryan Reynolds,
no, no,
I
no, no,
believe?
no, no. It's with Chris Evans,
Oh, you just
Dwayne
said that. Yeah.
Johnson, and I can't remember the other actor's name. Good vet, but it's interesting because this isn't your typical fairy tale of a Santa Claus. This is like real. Like, like I don't want to discuss too much or give spoilers, but you know,
No
it
spoilers.
it brings me to the mall, you know. It's just how disgusting people are, man. People, oh, I was here first, or that's the last one, I'll pay you 10 extra dollars. Let me get it. You know what I mean? Like it's wild, man. But like we're busy, surprisingly. I didn't expect it. Um, Ever since COVID, the business did diminish, but we had a really good turnout this weekend alone, you know. But the stress is they cut back on hours. They don't You know, they expect us to do work where as if they were paying us $25 an hour. You know, yeah, I'll do that,
Mm.
man. I'll jump off that bridge, to stop that crowd, like that type of stuff. But we're like three people short because I always hire three people just for the season, and we're three people short, and they still want miracles, and I'm like, whatever. But from what I understood, I don't know if they revenue the money that they generate, an estimate, but they had an average of over 80,000 people between, I think I would like to say between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, and once again, we were talking about the AI. If you have your locate on, check this out, man. If you have your locate on your phone, okay, now they have a system where it can track you going into a mall. They separate anybody who's in the mall for more than 4 hours because they assume that that's a worker. So if you went into the mall for an hour, they got you. Dude, it's wild. Like they were showing me this paper. I said, wait a minute, how are they tracking people coming into the mall? And they said, you're
Well, yeah,
located.
we spoke about this before.
Yeah.
We touched base on that and like how it. I mean, it does the same thing with my iPhone when it knows. I've never told my iPhone where my home is. It just knows where I park,
Yeah.
for the night.
It's still weird. It's still weird though. But other than that, man, it's just
Absolutely
it's
weird.
just tiring. I'm working on Sundays. I go in to do the floors for 3 hours. This weekend it'll be Sunday and Monday because it's the last uh 5 days technically before Christmas. You got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So that's when it gets crazy. But other than that, man, it's very odd because last year it was the last 2 weeks that we were busy. The year before that, 3 weeks when it was really busy. Before COVID, after Black Friday, it was just busy. You know what I'm saying? COVID did a number on everything. Businesses like, oh, we went out of business because of COVID, and I'm gonna tell you something that's so crooked about that. These places still wanted rent, even though they were closed.
Well,
Remember,
that's what happens. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
like
part of the contract.
we still need money. You know what I mean? Like landlords wanted it. They wanted their money regardless. But
Well, but you do understand, like it was all this money that just came out of nowhere, literally came out of nowhere.
yep.
Our currency is supposed to be a trade for gold or a trade for something valuable or tangible per se. All this money that we're printing, there is no tangibility to it. It's just like gone. It doesn't make any sense. And we've spoke about that before with the debt and stuff. But when it does come to the landlords, one thing I did understand because I was a victim of not being able to pay my bills at one point. I went to United, I forget what it's called, but you can get a grant to pay your bills, and that's where all the funding came from. So
Hmm.
the reason why landlords were pressing on that because they knew you can get it, even though you said you couldn't. And where people screwed up was with me. I had it was pretty much a handshake. We had a contract, but it was more so a handshake when you're dealing with these, companies like the facility that I'm living in, not facility, but the apartment complex that I'm living in now, if I wanted to, I can stop paying my rent during COVID per se, and they could not kick me out because they had that moratorium for the evictions. You couldn't do anything. So people
Oh
were not
yeah.
only collecting money, they were
They were
not paying their rent,
they were abusing the system at the same time.
abusing the system.
We
And,
we we, we had a fellow neighbor that did that. He used the system for over a year, dude. I don't know how he did it. And his argument with the landlord, like, oh, contact these people. They're going to be paying the rent. Like, I mean, I would hear
no,
this all the time, and
yeah.
I'm like, look, I don't know how that stuff works, but I never took advantage. I was like, here's the rent money, here's the rent money. Um, and mind you, in my job, I think they closed for like a month and a half, maybe 2 months. It was no more than 2 months, and we were back to being open, with a lot of restrictions or whatever. But I remember we had to check this out. We had to resign from the job. It was like weird. And the thing was, at that time, I had medical coverage. So I was seeing a doctor, okay? COVID hit, we had to resign, and I had a doctor's appointment not too long after, which I went to, okay? Then I had the hernia, and then I had to go, emergency. By the time the hernia came, which was in the same month of March, that's when I
Yeah.
found out I didn't have coverage, and I'm like, "Whoa, what do you mean?" And it turned out, and I don't know why we had to resign, but we had to resign until that mall opened back up. And I was like, "Yo, that's wild. That's
I think
wild."
they did that just so the corporations, because you got to understand, when it comes to malls and stuff, you have like expert lawyers that are behind the scenes, and I call it a conspiracy, whatever. I don't have any facts behind it, but I do have tiny little facts of things that I witnessed and experienced. They could take full advantage. You're like, look, I lost all my employees. They had to resign, and now I need a tax break because
Yeah,
they have to pay rent too. Everybody had to pay rent. Everyone had to pay the big man. It didn't matter what the fuck was going on, where you got the money from. You better go rob fucking Peter, because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you didn't have that money one way or another, yeah. I actually thought there was gonna be like a severe crash with the apartment economy, the rent economy. There's a specific word for it. I thought there was going to be a serious issue, but maybe it hasn't hit yet because people forget this was only 3 years ago.
yeah, I know.
3 years ago where it was in full effect. Like, yeah, you could say 4 years ago, but that's when it all started, and then we had to relearn society, and then we went right back. So much to cover and unpack there. And honestly, a lot of that is still the reason why we're suffering in society. I have some news channels open between the left and the right, and I'm just, glancing at some of the news stories that's going on. And a lot of that does stem from COVID. A lot of this stuff, like even with the Luigi Maggioni, whatever his name is, that, you're talking about healthcare and all these people that got turned away because of these situations, which you guys have your fair share, which we spoke about, and I don't want to go too deep into that, but yeah, that whole COVID thing was crazy. So I'm sorry
It,
because
it was a
I
mess,
got
man.
I got off track. When you guys resigned, did you get any kind of compensation?
No, no. As a matter of fact, man, let me tell you, man, when we came back, okay, when we came back, this is when New York was doing either resign or get the shot. You can't come back to work unless you
Wait,
have the
you were
shot.
living in New York?
No,
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 you
no.
weren't.
I said this happened while this was happening to New York. Just giving a
Oh,
reminder
okay. I
of
got you.
what
Yeah.
went down. Over here, they said every week, if you didn't get your shot, every week you had to go get tested, wait for your results, and then you could come back to work.
Mhm.
Now, this is when it was dialed down to like remember you didn't get results for like 2 weeks or whatever the hell it was. Then it was a week, and then the
And it
results
was
came
like
down to
the
like
same
four.
day.
Yeah,
Same day.
no, 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 not we were still at
At
the
that
four
time. Yeah.
at the
Sorry.
3 to 4 day result at that time. Okay. And so that means, hey, Mr. Ramirez, your schedule is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You're off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday and Saturday. Just an example. That's a couple of my people's schedule. Okay, so that means on Sunday you have to get tested and stay home until you get the results. So by the time you get the results, you're only working 3 days. It's like that made no sense to me. We already were mandated for the mask use, and sometimes, you know, uh, um, certain jobs that you do, that mask is hard, man. You start sweating all in just in your face and all that. It's a pain. I mean, we all did the mask, and like, I had to teach people how to use the mask. I said, hey, listen, man, if you cough in that, change it. You know what I'm saying? After about an hour, change it. I had people with the cloth masks, they were all dirty and gray. Like one guy had like a ketchup stain on it, and like he wore it every day. And I'm like, dude, you can't do that, man. That's unhealthy.
I I think I
You're
think
breathing
the
in funk, man.
Yeah, I was just gonna say really quick, I think the mask situation was the most ridiculous fucking thing I've ever experienced. And when I say that, I don't mean like in certain situations, yes, you probably want to wear a mask because it does, help cover and conceal some things.
Yeah,
That's why you
yeah.
sneeze into your arm. But when it came to
Some
just
of
like
us do
everything
that.
everywhere, like you had to wear a mask everywhere you went, and people would freak out when you come next to them. That's not how life works, bro. Well, I don't want to get too deep into that,
Yeah, yeah.
as far as that, but I'm listening to what you're saying as far as the masks and stuff. I mean, um, it
And
was a.
don't get me wrong, people still practice that. People today in
I
the
know, I see
where I
him every
work
day.
at, people still wear it.
I see him every day in the
You
street.
know?
I see him every day in the street. All right, so let's catch up on some current events real quick. See what's going on and get your opinion on some stuff. I did have the opportunity because, I do DoorDash during the day and I just research in general. I don't like binge watching, shows and movies and stuff. I literally put my nose in the books or the internet and just try to figure out what's going on. And what I did notice with this, there was a school shooting. Did you hear about that?
No, no, I haven't caught up on anything yet. Where
Okay,
where
no,
was
that's
it
fine.
at?
Well, there was a school shooting. We'll keep it brief because it's nothing to dwell on because this is just a natural occurrence in the United States, and a lot of people want to blame
That's
the
very sad
guns.
to say that, you know?
Well, it is sad to say
It's
that.
true. No, no, I'm saying it's
Yeah.
true that it's it doesn't take too long before people around the world, let's just say, people know, oh, nothing new over there, same
Well,
old.
they're already saying that. So, like, I guess I want to get your opinion on this point where we don't even have to get into the details with the situation with the school shooting
Yeah,
because it happened. If you want to read about it, go read about it. I want to talk about the preventive measures that we're taking as a nation and how fucking stupid we are as a nation by not thinking that kids need to be kept safe at all times. Now, I have the luxury and the privilege to live in a neighborhood where there's cops at all the schools. There are police officers at every school. We have 5 police divisions here where I'm located. And
okay.
anytime I go to a school to deliver something, there's police presence every single time and never fails. However, I did choose that because I could have stayed in the Bronx. I could have stayed wherever I was. But I chose specifically to raise my daughter in this environment because I do believe in protecting our children. Now,
Absolutely.
uh, yeah, we even in PS95, we had you guys there. We didn't have to worry about strangers walking in and just roaming around. Have you ever experienced something like that as a school security guard? And I'm glad we brought this up,
It's
actually.
interesting, and yes, I was going to share this story with you twice. It happened. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. We kept it under wraps.
Well, let the
Um,
audience knows. No, no, I didn't
we
hear
we
anything. I'm gonna tell you
we
right now,
had
but let the audience know
oh
what your position was. I was a student. I was there from I believe K to 8 or 2 to 8, whatever it was. And Mr. Mode 101 here, he was the security guard in the school. So yeah, tell us what's up.
well, we work for school safety. That's under the NYPD. Okay, we just
Okay,
don't carry guns.
which you should
Um,
have.
yeah,
I always thought that was
at least
bullshit.
mace or something, because
Yeah.
you have strangers coming here. But we had two cases. One of them I remembered because it was a kid that was getting who was afraid that he was gonna get beat up by adults by a gang, and he wound up bringing a piece to school.
To
Now
what school?
to 95.
Oh, you see, yeah, I
Oh
didn't hear about
yeah,
that.
oh yeah, and
Wow.
I remember when they told me about somehow the word got out. I guess a kid got afraid. So teenagers, kids, whatever, in the school, they should never be afraid to report that. And that's where it
Mm.
begins. You know what I'm saying? If you got a kid that's being bullied or is afraid of somebody, chances are, he might come strapped or, bring a knife, whatever the case is. The knife story is even better. Um, but dismissal already happened. When we heard about it, I remember the direction he walked in. I went and got him. I got him. I diffused his mind. He was distraught. And the good thing, lucky for him, we caught him. He had a gun with the wrong bullet in. If he would have shot it, it would have just shot right in his face. That's
Oh,
what would
was
have
it a
happened.
revolver?
It was a revolver. He had the wrong bullet in there.
Oh,
Okay.
Lord.
So, police got involved. There was no charges or anything. I believe they investigated it, but then now it's out of house now. In-house was just getting the gun.
Yeah.
Okay. He wasn't expelled from 95 or nothing like that, but he was watched, like we had to watch him, make sure he's good. He was thankful, for sure. He was very thankful. He thanked me. I didn't have to go out and get him. Like I said, they were going home. I just knew where, the direction he walked, and I saw him walking that way. And so when they approached me about the situation, I went immediately to him. You get to know the kids, and everything was good. He cried and did all that stuff. You know what I mean? But that was diffused. And then one summer I worked at is it called Evander, the one down Gun Hill?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Terrible
I
school.
had to work at that
Terrible.
school for summer school one time
God
because
bless your soul, bro. Holy
95 didn't have
shit.
summer school, so but this school did. And supposedly there was a gang fight, and a kid was carrying weapons or something. So we caught it was four suspects. Okay, this one kid had like every possible cooking knife you could possibly have,
God.
minus a machete. Yo, dude, he had a hat. The what do you call a hatchet? What do you call that? The knife to cut meat that looks
I
like a
think
hat.
I know what you're talking. It's not called the hatchet, but I
Okay,
know what you're
I
talking
can't think of
about.
the name right
It's
off the
like the
top of my head.
samurai knife. No, not
Yo,
the
dude,
samurai. The
yo,
fucking Go ahead. I'll think. We'll
dude,
think
he had
of it.
over
Yeah.
20 knives in his book bag.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
And obviously we questioned him, like, what's this for? Like, oh, I'm going to my grandmother's house to sharpen the mall. But this kid wasn't there. That
To
was his
do what?
his
Chop fucking onions and potatoes? The fuck are you talking
big
about?
cookout. I don't know, man. Don't forget that school was what was it, like 70% Jamaican? You
Bro,
know what
that
I'm
was a
saying?
bad.
That was a
That's where
bad
truancy
school.
would fucking drop kids
Yeah.
off.
That was a really, really bad school. I thought they were punishing me when they put me there, man. It was horrible. But we've had all our cases with knives. There was a
I almost got expelled from PS95 for bringing a knife into school.
wow, shit. You listen. You know how many fights? There was a fight I broke up with two girls. Okay,
I've
and
seen that.
when I broke
Not
it
you,
up,
but
they,
yeah.
they were on the bus. Okay, and I broke them up. Hey, relax, blah blah blah, and my hand was wet. I had gloves on. This was during the winter time, so I just thought they might have been cold. I thought nothing of it, dude.
Oh
You know,
shit.
and we go to the office and all. We bring the girl up there, blah blah, and I take off my hand, and it's just red.
Who
She,
got cut?
me, I did.
Oh,
My
damn.
finger, my index finger on my right hand has like it's not a full fingerprint. There's a smooth spot. She cut off a piece of meat off of that. And I was like, damn, man. Like Jesus, like never thought of it. She had a little Swiss Army knife. That's what it was. And those little Swiss Army knives, they're sharp as hell. I mean, anybody who has a Swiss Army knife, they would know that. But you
Well,
know,
yeah, I'll tell you a quick story when Bob had the pizza shop and even Angela when he had the pizza shop
yeah,
across the street. And then the other one was on East Tremont in Unionport, Uniondale, whatever it was called, near Parkchester Projects. We used to deliver flyers. You know how we used to have the flyers
yeah,
and slip them
yeah.
under the door, and people would get flyers under the door and all over the place. That's what me and Danny did. We got paid to do it and we did it. Well, I used to use my school book bag to do that, even at, 11, 12 years old. We were young, 10 years old. And we bought a knife from like one of those corner shops, the corner stores, the
Yeah,
Chinese shops that used to
yeah.
sell like everything in the world. It fucking sold everything, anything you could fucking possibly imagine. So we bought knives because one day when we were delivering flyers in Parkchester condominiums, which it was projects at that time, that's what we
Yep.
called it because it was dangerous. But apparently they cleaned it up and it looks nice now. But at that time, me and Danny got chased out of a building because we saw a dude that was stalking us, and every time we'll come down from floor to floor because there were two sides to escape. In most of the buildings, there's two doors and they had
Uh-huh.
glass on the doors so you could see right through it. So a guy, I don't remember exactly, like if I could draw it out, I'll show you what. where he was standing and how he was looking, but I don't remember exactly what he looked like. But he was standing there on every floor, dude. It was just like he was there. So me and Danny, after like the third floor, we were like, "Go, bro!" We fucking ran down the stairs. And the first Chinese shop that we saw, I said, "Yo, Jug," because we used to call him Jug. It was like, dude, we are not going back out there and delivering flyers without protection. They didn't have mace. I would have preferred mace because, a knife is gruesome. I mean, let's be honest. Like, I carry many different items on me especially when I'm delivering now,
Of
and a
course.
knife is the very last thing I would use, bro. I would use my hands before a knife because that shit is brutal. And if you hit the wrong artery, obviously, I don't have to explain
Yeah,
this to
yeah, I
you.
could imagine.
But anyway, long story short, sorry, left my knife in the bag, packed I didn't know, I forgot. Like I wasn't bringing a knife to school to be tough. I was literally emptying my bag on the table and a knife fell out and Mr. Roland Houston, along with Mrs. Griffiths, I think she still works there, saw the knife. There was nothing they can do but report it because if something happened, they would have lost their careers. Like if they didn't report it. I understand that now. At that time, Bob and Micheline, my mom, they're sitting at there was a long fucking table. We had to go to a whole council meeting somewhere
Yep.
deep in Fordham. I forgot where the fuck it was. Um, but we had a meeting they looked at me, everyone, and they were like, "What were your intentions?" Like whatever they said. And I said, we were delivering pizza flyers. I'm not a gangster. I don't beat people I fight in school, but this is not me, bro. Like, I was just like, no, do not send me into, what was it? Because after Miss 2, there was 8. What was it called?
Oh, that
What
was bad.
section, not section 8, but it was Miss 8 or something 8. Once you went there, bro, that was
Oh,
it.
you talking about the school in Manhattan?
Yeah, there was like where all the
Oh,
bad kids go,
yo,
but it
they
was
tried to send me
something
to that
8.
school one time, and I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna take my vacation time. I kid you not, I was not going to that school. That school is derived of nothing but special ed kids. Can
Mm,
you imagine and you, not to label anybody, but
sure.
special ed, if people don't know, those are kids that just can't control themselves,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah.
And now
It's
just imagine putting it into a school with like 600. I can't remember. It was a small school, but it was all special ed. And that's where I mean, you got to be really bad. And I
or
do,
misunderstood.
well, yes. I don't want to
Sorry,
get
I didn't
into
mean to
that
interrupt you.
because you know what? A lot of those kids, even you, was totally misunderstood. And what it is, when you have a teacher or guidance counselor that is not willing to take that time to understand you individually, that's where they send you. Look, I was almost sent to special ed. You know what I'm saying? I was that kid. Listen, I was cutting school when I was in second grade.
That's
I was,
crazy.
there was a time that a teacher accused me of stealing something, which I did. You know, uh, dude, I was in second grade, and they give out that little candy or whatever. You take one,
Nah, I
I
get
took
it.
two. I
Yeah.
took two. Oh, you took two. That's what she said. The other student. And I told the teacher straight up, suck my dick. You know, Needless to
Yeah.
say, my father came and whipped my ass in front of the class. So I mean,
Really?
oh yeah.
You could do that at that time.
At that time, yes. I mean, I remember having a gym teacher that if you didn't do jumping jacks right, he would take the string that's holding the whistle and whip you with it.
Why not?
I mean, I don't know what I was learning from that. I looked at him like, this ain't my father. Like, what the hell, but, you know,
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to say abuse kids, but some kids need that. Not saying you did, but
hey,
you
out
know.
here in Florida, when I first moved here, okay, it was in 2006, 2005, 2006. My son just
Oh,
turned
wow, you've
14.
been there that long.
Yeah, man. And when I went
Holy
to enroll him in
shit.
school, there was this paper that they gave me, and it was up to me to sign it to say yes or no. And the paper was, if your child gets out of hand, we have the right to like smack him up, basically.
Mm.
And I was like, dude, you crazy, man? Don't touch my kid, man.
Yeah, don't touch my
I,
child. Yeah.
my kid is not bad like that. But can you imagine? That was in 2005. I would like to say 2005, I think. My son turned 4. We moved here, and my in a week my son was 14. 14.
Well, let's put it this way. If I came home, if I was the father at the time when I was growing up, if I was my dad and I came home with a black eye, because I did, I got my ass kicked a lot, bro. I was just doing stupid shit. I
Yeah, I
was
remember
saying the
that
wrong things.
95. You used to have like the little swole eye. I'm like, oh,
Bro, like
got into a
so
fight
if
again.
I came home to me, I would be like, "What did you do?" That was the first question I asked. What the fuck did you do? What did you say? But I don't think it would have been that way because if my father was in the picture, like my biological father, I wouldn't have had any of those problems, bro. My whole life would have been different. And Bob, he did everything that he can. He was a saint. Like, yo, dude, he put up with our shit and he didn't have to. We're Puerto Rican, bro. He's Italian. They're crazy on a whole other level. Puerto Ricans are crazy on a whole other fucking level. So like the crazy and the crazy, which created
Yeah.
my brother, Robert, if you're watching. 'Cause you
Good kid.
intelligent as fuck, but he's crazy. Or he could be crazy. Anyone could be
I,
crazy,
I
but
would tell you
yeah,
something. One good thing about Bobby, man. I've known Bobby for years, and I've hung out with him plenty of times. Whether it was with cars or just hanging out drinking or whatever.
sure.
And I can tell you one thing, man. He never once mentioned any problems from the home ever. So I just
Well,
took it.
that's the thing, really quick. We didn't have problems at home. We had problems in school between me and my sister.
Do you know your mother?
Huh?
Do you know your mother? Your mother was serious,
Nah, nah,
sophisticated,
nah.
wise, and mysterious. That's the one thing I remember about her. And yes, you're right. Your sister was one of those that was getting in trouble, getting into
Yeah, she was
fights. You
crazy,
know,
dude.
well, your sister didn't take any shit, and you know that. You know what I mean? She's her own breed of I can take care of myself. I don't need a man or whatever. Who knows? What her life was because I think she was over her first one to move to Virginia, right?
Yeah, but we don't have to talk about that. We
No, no,
can,
no, 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 no. I'm
yeah.
just recapping.
Yeah, yeah. No, she
Um,
was the first one that branched out here
yeah, 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 that's what I was getting at. She was the first one to actually move out. So that
in
tells you
my
a lot
family.
about
Yeah,
her. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And everybody's different, man. Like I said, I can't remember what it was. They were trying to put me into special ed. Um, because I have they try to say I had attention deficit disorder and all of this and that I
What,
can't
even
pay
at your
attention.
time in
Yes.
school? I
Yes.
didn't know that even stretched that far.
Yes, it
I had
stretched
no idea.
far, dude. And my mother said no, because my mother knew that once you get in, you're not getting out, man. It's like prison, man.
My
Like you
mom
go
always
in and
told me
you're
that
in,
shit too. Yeah.
and it's hard for you special ed, if people don't understand it, um, it's like a prison system. That's what it is. It's 8 kids or less isolated and segregated from the group. I remember going down to the lunchroom and man, you guys all sat all in one little section and it was the wild bunch. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But
So, well, I was just gonna say really quick, special education. Yeah, it was about 8 to 15 students or whatever the case is.
yeah.
It was a prison cell because 321 is where I spent all of my time. We didn't switch classrooms like the other kids were able to. My
Yes.
daughter's t telling
You
me
were stuck.
now, she's like, yeah, we switched classrooms in her junior high school. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool because she's complaining about not having lockers because they can't use their lockers anymore. And thank God, I understand why. Um, but I'm like, yeah, you should be lucky you were able to switch through rooms. We couldn't even do that. We had to stay in the same fucking room all day. We had to hear that bell go off all the fucking time and stayed in that room. And as far as
And
the
you
special,
had the
yeah,
same teacher too, if I'm not
same
mistaken.
teacher, Miss
All
Fleming,
day.
Mr.
Yep.
Green. I remember all their fucking names, bro.
Now,
Miss
now I have
McCarthy.
a question for you. And the reason why I bring up the prison system is because if I'm not mistaken, every once in a while, you have to sit there with your mom or whatever and get evaluated, you know?
Yeah, that
So,
was
so,
downstairs.
so it's sort of like, okay, do you get parole? You get denied parole. Nah, Victor's a special case,
Well,
man. We-
here's what happened, and I'm not trying to sound cool in any kind of way, but when we would go downstairs, they'd be like,
You're
"Okay,
cool, Victor, man. You're cool,
why,
man.
why is Victor in this program?" And then Victor will go ahead and say, "Fuck you, bitch, you stupid cunt," to Miss McCarthy the next day, and then they're like, "Well, I guess we see why he's in this fucking program."
But why?
Because I was so angry, bro. Life was miserable.
No,
Like,
no, no,
yo,
no.
shit was, yo, my mom did such a great job, dude. That's the crazy thing. And I'm glad we're talking about this because my mom, she she had the house clean. She was there financially. She wasn't there emotionally, and she knows that. Like, no. And then not having a father in the picture, yo, my mom was out there on the sales floor busting her ass with Donald Trump, Jay-Z, and all the motherfuckers on the stock trading floor. Not with Donald Trump and Jay-Z. I'm just saying big names, whatever. But she
Yeah.
did work with Jay-Z. Um, her company did, JP Morgan Chase. But she was on the trading floor, just like busting her ass, making money, trying to give us the life that we live now. I gotta be honest with you. She made some
Well, you
good
got to remember,
decisions.
as a parent, once you bring in a step parent, if you will, like let's say Bobby or the
A
cop,
few,
whatever,
yeah.
you know, um, she still has to maintain that male role for you boys. You know what I'm saying? She can't like, oh, I got a male figure here and that's it. You know what I'm saying? The male figure helps, especially if there's like Bobby's a good, successful man. You know what I'm saying? The other guy was successful at what he was doing, but I will share this with you. Okay, the problem with those classes is, for me, in my experience of working in that school, what I noticed is that they were there just to collect a paycheck. They were there just to be like, all right, Victor, calm down. Calm down, Victor. Security, yeah, we need security up here. We got to take out a student out of class. And meanwhile, all she had to do is just tell you, go sit outside or something. You know what I mean? And more than likely, you had been more than happy to do it.
Bro, we couldn't even leave the classroom without being properly escorted.
You had to be escorted. Pacheco.
Every
Pacheco was
single,
the escort guy.
and then you had Mr. Houston as well.
Yep. 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 Yeah, I remember Houston. His brother was with school safety, but this is what I learned. This is the many reasons why I left. Why I just I didn't fight for it. I did get hurt. And being that we were with
I didn't know
PE,
that.
yeah, I went to break up a fight. With adults that were after
Oh
a kid,
shit.
four adults, man, and I'm like, holy crap, man.
Four adults?
Four men.
Why? What happened?
The kid beat up their nephew, cousin, whatever, whatever relations it
Shit.
was.
Yeah,
And they
that'll do
came
it.
over to do this, and I got hurt. I was out of work for, I don't know, 8, 9 months or whatever, and
Holy shit.
yeah, I was
Damn.
out. I was out of work for a while, for a minute. I was in my apartment stuck for 3 months before I was able to move down the stairs. I lived on. Remember, I lived
Did
on
you
the
get
final.
your jaw wired shut?
No, no, no.
Okay.
I tore a
No, I'm just
ligament in my
curious.
knee.
Yeah.
I tore a ligament in my knee. And
Fuck.
what I had learned was that these teachers, and I don't know, I think he was gone already, but Mr. Halpern took over what's her name's position. You mentioned the name Griffin. Okay, and
Mr. Hartburn, wasn't he the Sheila Mencher grandkid or something like that?
yeah, I think there was some sort of relation
Yeah,
with Sheila
like,
Mencha.
yeah.
And he was the math teacher, and then he took the
I
position of
remember. Yo, that's
special
crazy
ed.
that I fucking
And
remember
then
that.
the last time I visit, I was with my mom, so it had to been like 10 years ago, or whatever. He wound up going back to teaching math again. He said he couldn't deal with it no more.
Uh-huh.
But even him, you know, um, I get these kids, like let's say you, and I will calm you down. You know, I'll listen to you. I'll understand where you're coming from, and hey, look, man, this is life, man. You can't be doing this, blah blah blah. Calm down. And this is when I pull these kids out of the auditorium because they're acting up. All right. And they'll sit with me, they chill with me. I got them laughing, I got them calm. And now it's time for them to get in trouble. It's time for their repercussions. And
That's
they'll
right.
come with me. Let's go. And the kid's acting up again. Now I gotta, I'm saying to myself, I just diffused the kid. You could talk to him normally. It's like you guys
Henry,
were
it was
treat,
redundant.
yeah, you guys weren't treated like humans. You guys were treated like animals or something.
Absolutely.
If,
Yo,
if
bro,
they could shoot you with a dart gun, they would do that, man. They would just shoot you and
anyone,
tranquilize you.
what we're talking about right now, anyone who's, either watching this right now or is gonna watch it in the future, because eventually, even if it hits 1,000 eyes out of 3 billion, I encourage you to go to Facebook, go to PS95 Sheila Mencher on Sedgwick Avenue and Hillman Avenue in that cross intersection. Go to that school right now on Facebook. Go to the comment section. You will find me, Vic, or now it's Felix Ramirez, because that's my name anyway, Victor Felix Ramirez. And you're going to see an entire rant that I just put up there last year about how fucking corrupt that school was. And I'm not saying that the entire school was corrupt. What I'm saying is that how we were treated as children. Bro, we were put in there with second graders, with fucking sixth graders, getting our asses kicked, getting our
Picked
food
on. Yep.
taken away, being shoved into those fucking stupid blue closets that were on wheels because we didn't have closets. The closets were on fucking wheels, and it was a big fucking closet, and we got shoved in there and locked in. So there's a lot to unpack there. I even thought about fucking suing the school. Honestly, for how we were fucking treated and giving and dispersing that money, because I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no way that half of those kids are alive right now. No fucking way. Sorry. Nope.
I
I,
will tell you
I'll
one thing.
I'll
I
bet
will
on
tell
that
you one
shit. And I
thing.
don't want to be right.
If we have the right listeners listening to that worked in the school,
Eventually they will, Henry.
you
Someone's
know,
gonna hear this.
I would tell you this
Not
much.
now, but
A
later.
lot of these teachers, they came into the school as interns, okay? Then they got a position. A lot of them always shared with me that all I have to do is 2 years. I want to go work up in Rochester. I want to work up in
Mm.
Poughkeepsie. You know what I mean? They were just there just to do this 2 year trial, probation or whatever, and then move on. And they did that. Yeah, I saw people come and go. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, unfortunately, the education system has gotten to a point where teachers don't pay attention enough. So when you got these,
Have they ever?
uh, no, but this is where I'm getting at. When you got this system where you have the guidance counselor, you even have counselors that are went to school for what's it, psychiatry and all that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You got these avenues in the school, but yet they still label you. So, when you hear about school shootings, everybody's quick to blame the kid. Oh, the kid was bullied. The kid, I believe, I would like to believe, I don't know this, but you may agree with this. I believe that at one point in their time, they said something.
Well,
Don't worry about it. Just let me know the next time they beat you up, we'll suspend them. Or you got the don't be a snitch.
no, and it's yes. And it's not only bullying. That one kid that walked into the cafeteria, he shot a chick in the head. I'm sorry to say a chick. I apologize to the internet. He shot a young lady in the head along with her new what he would call a lover, which you're not lovers in as teenagers. You don't even know
Yeah.
what love is. But apparently he walked in there for jealousy. There's a million reasons why kids will walk into a school. It's not only bullying,
Yeah.
because there's millions of kids being bullied right now. So, and another thing with me, thank God I didn't have access to that. Because I wasn't a godly person at that time. I didn't even care. Like, yeah, I was brought up a Jehovah's Witness, but the way I fear God now and just fearing doing something wrong, and like there's a lot to unpack there. But had you caught me at a bad time, and if it wasn't for people like Miss Pagan, and people like you that were in there. Because Miss Pagan was one of the best
She was
guidance
awesome.
counselors I can remember, bro,
She
in
was
my
awesome.
entire life.
She
Okay,
was
and
there
that
for
was
she
in
was
the
there for the
gym.
kids, man.
Yeah, behind the gym. I remember in the back.
Yep.
That's where her office was. And she saved my
Isolated.
life.
Yep. You
Not
know,
not her responsible, like everyone, like the collectively.
but you see,
Um,
like you said,
it's not just
that's
kids being bullied, is my point. Yeah.
that I agree with. And again, we spoke about this the other day. What is mainstream media, the internet, what is it doing to these kids, man? They're watching these videos. Oh, I want to be in love like that. Oh, I feel like that. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Then you start watching news, you know, man killed lover, he couldn't get over the breakup or whatever the case
Hmm.
is, but they're watching this. Oh, my dad has a piece. I'm gonna off this guy. You know what I'm saying? And like it starts with home, it starts with school, I don't think these kids are crazy. I don't think they're out of their mind. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've dealt those whole entire 13 years of working in that school with special ed a lot. And I would have expected one of those kids, but back then I didn't. But now thinking about it now, you would expect one of those guys to like, let me come in with a gun. I'm gonna shoot up, the teachers or something like that. I don't like this kid. I don't like this girl or whatever the case is. You know what I mean?
No,
But
sure.
now, you know, once again, they're just being brainwashed with all these like love videos and breakup videos that like, yeah, you left me, but I'm gonna move on, or those basically violent videos, I caught my man, with some other girl and she's filming her beating her down or something like that, or trashing his car or something like that.
Go ahead, continue.
Oh, what happened
I
there?
just wanted to get this segment for Zoom, but go ahead.
Got you. But like, when you're watching these videos, it's enticing. If you're in that level, as a kid, you don't understand. You don't see the bigger picture. You don't see that you could go to jail or anything like that. Okay? You don't see the repercussions of anything. You know, half these kids they get involved in a shootout with the police, or they off themselves, or they get caught. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and a lot
And
of the times with the children, although they're children or a child, a teenager, young adult, elderly, senior citizen, there are some seniors that don't get it. There are adults that don't get it. There are grown adults that don't get it. There are grown teenagers that don't get it. There's teenagers that don't get it. But then you have people like my daughter. Not saying that she's a prophet or a prodigy, but it's just like I ask her simple questions sometimes that comes from the media and she can answer it with no problem. And then you have emperors. Bro, there were teenage emperors on Earth with more common sense than
yep.
anyone who's read 80 books. It it has everything to do with the person, the child, the genetics. If a child or a human can get it, they can get it. Some don't. An age really doesn't matter. And I forgot exactly where I wanted to go with that one. I should have written it down. But we're just talking in general about um, kids understanding, or just humans in general don't understand empathy if they haven't been raised properly. You know, when it comes to, let's say, 16-year-old or the 15-year-old that just walked in. She did it during study hall. She opened fire. I'm not sure if she's a trans or whatever because that's a big debate as well. But a 15-year-old just yesterday opened fire, shot a teacher and a student. And then you had, that according to whoever in Texas, like this kid just go into his school and start shooting everyone for no fucking reason. So I don't know who to blame here. Is there anyone? I don't know.
Um, it's interesting you bring that up because That's the one thing that they
Got a little
never
lost there.
investigate. They should investigate, the kid. Everybody's troubled. Everybody's this. Everybody's that. Just like the guy who shot the CEO of the health insurance or whatever. You know,
That whole Luigi shit
Y-
is a
y-
very strange case to me.
it is because they talked about him. This kid had insurance. First of all, he was well off,
Yeah, he was fine. I don't
good
understand
kid,
what happened.
disappeared for 3 months, and then came back out to treat this one particular guy. I was pegging it where it was. Um,
I
oh,
honestly think it's a psyop gone bad.
Jesus Christ, hold on.
A psyop gone wrong. That's what that
No,
shit
no.
is to me.
Remember what I was talking about? Um, sometimes I just believe that these are all just setups somewhere along the line. You know what I mean? You know, um, you got that one guy who says, "Hey, man, I got a gun. Take it, handle business. You'll be tough." You know what I'm saying? Nobody ever talks about repercussions. That's like, "Hey, Vic, man, I got this solid proof way to rob the loom bus and take all the money." You know what I mean? You're not gonna. I would never talk to you about the repercussions. I won't say, "Hey, if we get caught, don't say nothing. Don't mention my name." Nothing. A plan is never the negative. Never. You know, and it's weird because as a child, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about, I'm gonna go do this, and that's that. End the story. You know what I'm saying? And like it's just the type of thing that, you know, I think, I mean, we've always had this. Well, I cannot say that we did have this before social media, before internet or whatever. I don't ever remember school shootings. I read a lot of newspapers back, back into schools, when we work,
Yeah.
whenever I was in, I read the newspaper. I've never read anything about school shootings. I mean, shit, the craziest thing I ever read about was the Waco incident. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, that's wild. Because
Yeah, that we didn't
there was kids
I
involved in that.
yeah, I don't remember anything about school shootings, but I do remember a lot about metal detectors. Kids
Yes.
bringing in weapons to school.
Yes,
That was a
especially,
different
and that's
story.
that started in high school and
Yeah.
eventually moved to junior high and all that stuff. And
That I remember.
then you still had them sneaking them into a door or whatever the case, whatever that was about.
Yeah. No, I
But
remember that.
it's the type of thing that today you don't have metal detectors in half these schools. Oh, just New York needs it because they're bad.
No,
Just
they have it here.
LA needs it because they're bad.
No, they have
And
it
then
here. I think
but
most high
that's what I'm
schools
saying.
have it.
Eventually, it
Yeah.
just moves around. After a while,
Yeah.
it just starts moving around. I don't know about the schools over here if they have metal detectors, but
What, in Florida? Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, I
do
know.
they?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
actually, yes, yes, I do. I was here in the beginning years, and they started mentioning that, and I'm like, wow, schools are
Yeah,
getting
they don't pat you down, but there's metal detectors. Yes.
more shit out here, especially Florida. I mean, everybody has a gun, like rifles or whatever the case
Well,
is.
not teenagers,
Um,
dude,
they
that are
they
under
well,
18. They shouldn't be
we
having
had
fucking
one
guns.
case where a teenager came to school. I believe he had his father's truck and a big old rifle sitting in the back. You know what I mean? Like, how cool am I? You know what I mean? Needless to say, he got in trouble.
Stupid.
But it's very unfortunate. School shootings, it's sad. It could be your kid, it could be my kid. I mean, like, you know, it's getting to a point that we are all getting afraid of sending our kids to school. You got pedophiles, you got the child trafficking. There's a lot going on in this world now, and
Absolutely.
people they're just not afraid to do it. I watch those videos in the other countries, and you see how they stage these kidnaps, but somebody notices it and saves them or
Yeah.
whatever, you know. But it's wild. I mean, it's not even that white van with the lollipop. Hey, you want some candy?
Yeah.
It's not even that. It's just a regular car, pull up, snatch a kid, and go. And it's sad to see that because it's like, yo, what the fuck, man? Like Jesus Christ, man. Like that's somebody's kid. You have to be sick to do that stuff. Okay. I'm not saying that kids who do school
And
shootings
so
are
I
sick.
wouldn't say sick because like the chainsaw massacre, that's a sick motherfucker. I would say someone that's mainly losing their mind
Yeah.
and being extremely selfish. Now, a lot of people will be like, "Well, that's still sick," but that's not the same as like, carving someone's face off and wearing it down the street to chase you for 3 blocks and then chop you in half with a fucking chainsaw. What I'm saying is that a lot of these people that lost their minds, they're not like sick in a way where you don't want to classify them as sick. You want to put them down. You
Yeah. No,
like,
no,
hey,
agreed,
they're just
agreed.
crazy people who lost their fucking minds, got tired of the system, and said, fuck everyone, and became so selfish where you want to just put them down. Like, that's a maniac. That's like a Tasmanian devil. That's like a vulture that you just shoot from the sky. Now, it's just like let's say a rabid snake comes into your house and tries to bite everyone, and you just chop, it's done. But then you have this, uh, man, I guess it's sick either way. There's no way around it. I'm like trying to chop around the bush and not be seen. It's sick either way, dude. I
Dude,
guess like the
it's
crime is just, oh man,
well,
it's a
don't
sensitive
forget too,
subject.
if you ever notice, this is straight up facts. You know, if media, media is a very powerful, powerful tool. Whether it be true or not, most of the time it's nothing true. You know,
Yeah,
if they want to alleviate you from watching, let's say P. Diddy, they'll come up with something new, and now your mind is occupied on that. You see?
sure.
So okay, we have a school shooting, you're naturally we're all like, wow, man, what happened? So we start following the news. Meanwhile, the economy dropped, in this week. You feel what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like,
Yes.
and now your stocks is turned to shit. You got no money. You lost all your money because you was busy being a natural human being or parent, let's say, and you was following up on this news that's happening. And it's like that everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Like they started talking about the P. Diddy case and all that. Not to get off, but they were talking about the P. Diddy case. Meanwhile, we forgot that our DNAs were stolen from somebody or hacked. You know what I mean?
It's true,
Like
bro.